Alright, welcome to day 3 of the Vera series. So I still need a lot of experience to reach level cap, but I do have some story left over, so I'm hoping I can get a lot of experience by catching up with that, because I do believe you want to have that story completed before the new patch comes out. But starting out, you want to go to your artificial island, then you want to go back to build, and then you want to hit claim, because remember, you can only hold your resources for 24 hours. On top of that, hopefully you cleared out your island. I did that late last night to avoid Procrastinator Day. I guess technically that was on Procrastinator Day, but still. And then of course you want to check your exchange store. Make sure you buy your weekly materials because today is the last day to do that. Next, you want to use Mia's Kitchen, and you want to knock out your 4 bounties for the day. And I'm going to go with Vera again. Next, we got Vitality, starting with joint operations. So for today, we got access to Bracer's Chest, a Huma and a Samir matrix. We got access to Shoulder's Helm, a Coco and a Shiro matrix. And we got access to Boots. On top of that, we can do the in-game or Sadness Valley. So these are all very good dungeons to do. Remember, 2.1 is coming out on Tuesday, so if you're not ready for Lyn, you might want to focus on Interstellar Exploration. And just to give you some perspective, this is currently what I have right now. I have 82 of these, I have 179 of these, I have 332 of these, on top of 16 here, 17 there, 35 here, 58 here, 103 here, and 12 here. And you would think that's quite a lot. Still don't technically have enough to level up Lyn, especially once we get to level 80, which brings us to Interstellar Exploration. So of course you want to check Aspera, and you want to also check Vera, so that way you can get all of your Stargates, and you're trying to look for those level 3s or level 2s, and a good way to tell is by looking at this weapon battery category, and if it has a number 3, it's a level 3, and if it has a number 2, it's a level 2. But if you don't have any level 3s or level 2s, you could always do dimensional trials, and if you need money, you could always do space-time domains. But again, I recommend that if you don't have max Omnium beacons, you might want to try to do that, so that way you can push towards 80. Next, we got our optionals, and that's giving gifts to your 1.0 characters, and the best way to do that is to go to the black market, see this island, and do the claw machine, and knock out your 2 trainings for the day. But what is not optional is doing your 6 fun zones for the day, and trying to knock out your 6 Greyspace fishers. And if you need help on how to do that, I got a guide on my channel. Which brings us to events. Now we have 3 days left of this event. As you see, I'm slacking behind, so I need to do quite a bit of world bosses. I recommend that you try to keep up with this, so that way you're not doing a lot of stuff during patch 2.1. But if you do get behind, at the very least, try to get your SR Relic Box, your Joint Supply Chips, and your Red Nucleus. Then we have a new event coming out on November 22nd, and that is Starweave Night. And if you notice, we get a new piece of gear that we can add to our character. It is that eyepiece slot, so this is definitely an event you want to do, and you probably want to go for that eyepiece sooner rather than later. Which I also have to let you know, since we're going into a new week, you want to save your type 3 keys. Because once we get to 2.1, we're going to get new bosses that gives us a chance to get this eyepiece. And this is one of those in-game gear pieces you're going to be farming. So hopefully you haven't spent too many of your keys like me, but if so, at least try to save them next week because the weekly tab will reset. But if you enjoyed these daily guides, I would greatly appreciate a like so that way they can spread more on YouTube. Then we got the weekly tab. You want to make sure you do enough things down here so that way you can get everything up top. And I already mentioned about the type 3 keys, so remember this resets tomorrow, and you do not want to use your keys until 2.1. Which brings us to challenges. So if you're trying to do something like the Bygone Phantasm or Frontier Clash, you might want to save your Mia's Kitchen so that way you can power yourself up, starting with the Bygone Phantasm. So again, I recommend that you take a look at this weapon bonus. If you have a good weapon bonus, you can try to do this sneak to next level. And if your CS is high enough, you're going to be able to jump 11 floors, and if you beat that floor, you get to keep it. But Namespace did bring up a good point. Your weapon bonus does change once you go up 5 levels, so you might want to check your weapon bonus after you jump. Or if you have a bad weapon bonus, you could try to climb up 5 levels and then try to jump. But I actually didn't wait till the very last day, and I did a little bit of the sequential phantasm. I was able to get a very good score. Now I am rank 1. I still haven't done the regular Bygone, and it is Procrastinator Day, and there are people at higher levels than me, so I'm sure they're really going to try the sequential now. Which brings us to Frontier Clash. Now if you have attempts, I recommend that you do it today, because we don't know which resist we'll have next week, and it could hurt having a bad resist. Wormhole, we got 3 days left to complete this. I recommend that you do this sooner rather than later, so that way you're not trying to knock out the wormhole and do all of 2.1 at the same time, if you can already beat it. And raids, you want to make sure that you knock out all 3 of these on heroic mode, so that we can get all of those crystal fragments. Void Rift, if this is a first time boss for you, you want to go ahead and knock that out. And Apex League, if you're trying to reach Grand Marshall, you might want to put a couple hours in each day. Then we got our daily buys, so you want to go to shop, hunt, then buy your 2 vitality solutions. Now this is only if you can afford it, which brings us to the Commissary, starting with the Crystal Dust store. You want to make sure you buy your advancement modules, your booster modules, and your Vera special gift. Then when it comes to your potent omnium crystal, you can consider passing because we do get enough to reach the 8.3 suppressor through expiration and Vera alone. But what else you can do with your golden crystal dust is buy boots, and if you have a good pair of boots, then you can buy hand guards, and if you have a good pair of hand guards, then you can buy whatever else you want. Base time store. Now in 2.1, the store should be getting updated and having a few extra purple fragments, maybe even some gold fragments. Could be good to go ahead and have, so that way you can buy those extra items. Weapon store. Today is your last day to buy a weapon, so you could do that, or you could just wait until maybe a limited banner gets added to the standard pool. Crew store. Now the only thing I recommend is that you spend your points on relic shards, and the relics that I recommend are Space Time Rift or Omnium Shield. And how you get crew points is by doing your daily donations and knocking out your 4 missions for the week. Support store. Now I recommend that you buy your 3 joint supply chips, and if you can, try to get your proof of purchase in Gold Nucleus using return support points. And if you need help on how to do that, I got a guide on my channel. And point store. Now the only thing I recommend that you spend your points on are spare special gifts, so that way you don't have to do training, black market, or Cetus Island again. But if you need to level up your matrices or weapons, you could consider buying matrix data packs or weapon batteries. But besides that, I just recommend that you try to reach a level cap because you're going to need to try to get to 80 once 2.1 comes out. And if you have a little bit more time, you could try to explore Vera. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If so, feel free to check out my ultimate buyer's guide. But other than that, talk to you guys later.